I started working at Hydrographic Department of Japan Coast Guard in 1972 and was mainly engaged in work for oceanography. In terms of international affairs, I have been working as a course lecturer in the field of physical oceanographic survey between the 1980s and the 1990s at a group training program provided by the predecessor of Japan International Cooperation Agency called JICA. JICA has been implementing a variety of training courses on marine survey since 1971, and about 440 trainees from 44 countries completed the hydraulic survey course during 1971 to 2018. This training program of JICA is now accredited as Category B hydrography course. Also, I served as Chief Hydrographer of Japan for 2 years during 2002 to 2004. Particularly in 2002, I was appointed as a Vice Chair of the Strategic Planning Working Group called SPWG, and I was involved in discussions for revising the IHO strategic plan and drafting new IHO convention and regulations. After the retirement from the Hydrographic Department in 2004, I have been working for Japan Hydrographic Association and was involved in the establishment of Japan Capacity Building Project. That is a joint training program of JHOD, IHO, and UKHO for cartographers based on the support from Nippon Foundation. I have two topics that I would like to highlight. One is the establishment of Japan Capacity Building Project. The other is SPWG conducted during 1997 to 2005. Japan Capacity Building Project, which is now called IHO JHOD Project, is an accredited training program as Category B course for cartography. This project started in 2007 and is conducted at UKHO for 3 months under the support by Nippon Foundation. I was engaged in the establishment of this project and coordinated among IHO Secretariat and other people concerned as a position of Managing Director in Japan Hydrographic Association. In the process, we had to consider needs in the IHO and plan a training program to meet the needs. Although we had a lot of discussions and efforts at the time, I am now impressed with that the training program lasts for over 10 years successfully, where 65 trainees from 39 countries completed until 2018. With respect to the SPWG, in the context of rapidly growing IT technologies, it was emerging as a new challenge for the IHO to accelerate its procedures for decision-making in those days. More specifically, there were several issues that the cycle of the IHO conference as the organization's decision-making body was long, which was 5 years, and that there was no process for discussing key issues prior to the IHO conference, and it sometimes caused difficulty to reach a consensus at the IHO conference among lots of member states. To solve all those problems, which are essential for the IHO management and operation, the IHO Convention and associated regulations, which came into effect in 1970, needed to be revised. And then important missions were tasked to SPWG. The discussion at the SPWG covered a wide range of key issues, including the purpose and mission of the IHO, relations with other international organizations and NGOs, means of selecting IHO's Secretary General and directors, composition of the council, and hydrographic interest other than tonnage. Different views and opinions were exchanged among member states through these discussions, requiring much time to proceed. Finally, a draft revised convention and regulations were submitted by SPWG to the extraordinary IHO conference in 2005, and they were adopted. This valuable period, during which I worked for the IHO as vice chair of the SPWG, together with other members, is the most memorable for me. The protocol of amendments to the Convention on the IHO came into force in November 2016, and the scope of the IHO was expanded to fields other than safe navigation, which is a conventional purpose in the previous IHO convention. For instance, several activities such as MSDI, STB, and crowdsourced bathymetry are vigorously discussed in the IHO. Furthermore, the JEBCO NF Seabed 2030 project, which aims at developing high-resolution global bathymetric charts by 2030, has been initiated, and I think that roles and responsibilities of the IHO getting broader than before. On the other hand, we need to note that some countries may have difficulties in keeping up with such advances, and it will become more important for the IHO to promote further efforts on capacity building in parallel with the introduction and promulgation of latest technologies, so as not to make the technical gap larger. As an example, Japan has made efforts on improving technical capacity in the East Asia and Southeast Asia region through dispatching lecturers and providing training programs since the 1970s, and has been providing continuous supports for hydrographic surveys and making nautical chart at the Malacca-Singapore Straits since the 1960s. In addition, Japan has conducted the JEBCO training program, which is a Category A bathymetry course since 2004, and the CHART project, which is a Category B cartography course since 2009 under support by the Nippon Foundation. Many of relevant hydrographic and cartographic technologies in Japan were originally introduced from Western countries a long time ago. And in turn, I believe that it will be important for Japan to encourage capacity building and to contribute to safe navigation internationally. Similarly, it will be significant to continue capacity building in the IHO from a long-term perspective. I hope that the IHO will continue to develop and contribute in the international society after this as well. Thank you very much.